So you all ready for some Death Bowl? Because I'm ready for some Death Bowl. Who doesn't like some shenanigans? Alrighty, what's going on here? What is going on? Apparently this may or may not be working. Is this working for you guys? Someone let me know in the comments. Okay, apparently this is working. I don't know, it's just a little weird because it looked like it wasn't working. Now, this is the type of racing I like. It's the type of racing everybody likes, because who doesn't like Death Bowl? Also, who doesn't like just running with ridiculously high force feedback for some reason? I mean, it gets no better than IndyCars at Iowa Speedway. You know, it's the greatest. Can't top it. Alright, let's see. See if it's going to be a one-line affair. I'm not sure if this track has been updated here in iRacing. The track grip.
Just off the head.
Surface change. Could have stopped at nothing better than IndyCar. Nah, man. Iowa Speedway plus IndyCar. You know, that's as good as it gets right there. I mean, you had that little descriptor for that extra specificity, you know. Never taken the time to actually watch this type of racing. How the hell do you even find the line? A variety of different ways. For one, you know, just like road course racing, you know, there's going to be a line that's going to be fastest, you know, the typical racing line. But generally, that's always a pretty good, safe solution. But you'll notice when the cars, you know, when you start pushing off of the corners, you get real bad understeer coming off of the corners, and it just feels like you just can't get into the power the way you want to, or it's just not turning. That's generally a good indication that you might want to try scraping the wall coming off of turn 4.
Low car, down low, go high.
You know, you generally know it. And part of it is moving around as well. And yeah, we totally hosed the car there.
Car stopped up high, go low.
Like, you'll generally notice it when you get the line right, because, well, for one, obviously the split times will reflect it just as on the road course, but you'll definitely notice it based upon the way the car comes off of the corner in particular. When I clicked on the race, it said New Hampshire. Yeah, that's first race of the week for you. Surprise. Hope you check the schedule. Alright. Okay, guy. I don't want to just blast around the outside on you here, because there's a car coming, but...
Car inside, clear.
I think that guy might be driving with a joystick, might be driving with a controller. He's doing some weaving.
Car stopped ahead, go low.
Yeah, and one thing with the Indy cars here in iRacing, and really just iRacing in general, until the last few updates, they've really started going back and changing the track surface for a bunch of the oval tracks, which if you maybe watch some of my older videos, I've kind of talked about it from time to time, because I am someone who prefers running a high line. Essentially, the tracks that haven't been updated have the same track surface grip from top to bottom, and it's all uniform, which results in generally the standard racing line being the optimal way around the track, because you're using all of the room on entry, all of the track down at the middle of the corner, all of the room on exit, which again is a viable line pretty much always. But what ends up happening is, as cars go over the track, it essentially polishes it off and the track surface wears in, which is why if you watch a race from, for example, Atlanta in NASCAR, that's a track that has exceptionally high surface wear, because the pavement is really just old.
Stay low. There is a car on the high
So
side.
because of that, there's just not a lot of grip there, and especially on the areas that are the optimal racing line,
Go low.
those are the areas that are going to wear out first, which means that it becomes beneficial to go look for other higher grip portions of the track, which is why you got to kind of be willing to experiment. What time is the race? It's down there in the at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if I just need to make this more obvious, because I feel like it's obvious, but I get asked about it enough, so don't feel bad. There's a clock. That is my local time, and that's all local to me. So at 7:15, we're going racing, so about 7 minutes. So plenty of time to make some popcorn.
Inside. Clear.
I think I might have
Clear inside.
bonked her. So we're doing easy flat now, not so much. Oh, shoot. You know what? Thank you for pointing that out there, kind person. Just one moment here. Let me go ahead and change that around here. What is it? 8:30? Really a pain in the backside to type out. I have a keyboard at my rig here. It's at a really weird angle. Alright, so it should be updated now. Sorry about that. It's my bad. Yeah, thank goodness we're not waiting, 15 hours for a race session. And everybody should look anxious. This is DEATHBOWL. I mean, we're talking about Indy fixed at Iowa Speedway. There will be carnage. There will be malarkey. There will be madness. Okay. Alright, what was I doing that I was doing flat out? Did I just maybe tweak the car on that? And... plus 10. Let's go. How important is the draft in Indy? The draft is really powerful. I mean, it's not a track like this. It's not, you know, like a NASCAR restrictor plate track where basically the whole race is the draft. A track like this, it's really not the defining factor. Someplace like, Pocono or Michigan, Indy, or what have you. Yeah, it's going to make a big factor, but mental note, look out for Valvoline guy, because apparently he can't frickin' drive. He's literally been in the wall every single corner of every single lap, as far as I can tell. So appreciate you put your local time there instead of some weird 3-letter time zone code. I'm expecting everyone to make sense of it. Oh, come on, UTC and GMT, it's not complicated. Although someone seriously asks basically every stream, notwithstanding the fact that I screwed the schedule up, which is totally my fault. Like, oh, when is the race? It says right there on the screen, guy. Like, what? And then they'll ask, what time zone is that? Doesn't matter. It clearly says that the race is in 8 minutes, 5 minutes, or an hour and a half, Apparently, this car is just too tight. Gotta put some weight jacker on cold tires.
Low car up high. Go low. Go low.
And this practice session has been carnage. I mean, they usually are, but it's got a special kind of something above and beyond. Alright, why are we swerving down the straightaway? Alright, looks like the optimal line is going to be the bottom line.
Inside. Still there, hold your line. You're up top.
Oh my goodness,
wide.
joystick driver.
Still there, still there. Inside, 2 wide. Keep high.
Joystick
Clear
drivers
inside.
driving with joysticks.
Inside. Still there, hold your line. Clear. Car inside. Still there at the bottom. Clear. Car
Woo!
outside. Outside is
Ah, goodness, we just about died. We just about died right there. Oh man. That's one of those in the race I promise I'll lift out a little bit to make that not happen. 0x in the crossover behind a guy is a little sketchy. Going back, we're just talking about some time zones. Yeah, the time zones are basically all the same unless you live in North Korea and like a few other countries. Like basically everybody is all in equal hour, in terms of time zones, and then there's a certain countries that just, want to be different. for one reason or another. But, alrighty, let's see. Coming in here, car number 10. Take a shot sometime everyone crashes. Every time someone crashes. Sometime everyone crashes. Something like that. Man, if you turn Iowa Speedway IndyCar Fixed into a drinking game, you would not make it. There would be no survivors. Oh goodness, is that joystick guy? No, that's not joystick guy. We've raced with him before. We know he's not joystick guy. I feel like my force feedback is way higher than it usually is in this thing. I usually run like 7.9. Granted, Iowa is just bumpy anyways because gotta love Midwest weather.
Car inside. Keep high.
Come on
Clear
now.
inside. Practice is over. Head on in.
Why am I getting a message saying sorry for last Monday? Oh! Oh, hey. Yeah, one thing I will mention. This guy, Victor, he's the guy that bumped into us in turn 1 and 2 last week at New Hampshire. He commented on that video saying he's sorry, as well as that. So, I mean, I'm not particularly angry at the guy or anything. I always feel like it's worth pointing out when people come back and say they're sorry, even though I know in my case it's different for me than a lot of other people.
Green, green, green.
Because
okay,
of,
here comes your first time lap.
you know, the reasons. But someone who at least goes back and, you know, sends a PM or whatever on the forums or whatever. Why did I do that? You know, that's something that you always like to see and is worth commending people for. So, I mean, some jackwagons, when they wreck you, you know, you'll get nothing and it's, oh, well, it was your fault. It was your fault. Even when it's clearly their fault, but they're just doing the whole macho ego thing where nothing is ever my fault, you know? Oh, yeah, straight to P1. That ain't gonna hold, though. There's no way we're starting P1. There's no way. There we go. But at least you should have a decent starting spot. Wait, India is a country where they're on that goofy, like, 30-minute time zone thing? Mental note, if there's a green flag pit stop, just throw it in the wall. Totally screwed. I will be totally screwed. Alright, crew, give me some fuel. Can you actually refuel in qualifying? No? No, you're not gonna let me take fuel? What did they do in our pit entry? Anyways, so how are you guys' Mondays going? Assuming it's Monday where you are. I suppose any European viewers up late at night might be going into the Tuesday. Oh my goodness. All of India is on the half-hour pivot. Alright. Well, the more you know. I just don't understand it, you know? I mean, what? I don't know. Then again, I'm also someone who I can totally tirade against daylight savings time and how it's totally stupid backwards. It makes no sense and it's tyranny, and should be should be abolished. Well, congratulations, chat. Good to hear that. Hopefully, y'all got an enjoyable future of fatherhood in front of you. Sounds like a not jolly old time, but I'm sure in your perspective it is. So, yeah, congratulations. Wait, time out here. They make Dremel baby nail files? This is something I need to know about. Alright, while we're waiting here, I am gonna Google that. You know, I guess they just make Dremel attachments for literally everything. It's gotta be really interesting to work in their R&D department, product development. So guys, we need a new product. Sales are slowing down. We've sold as many Dremels as we possibly can, and need a new product. Hey Bill, you just got a kid 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. Alrighty, starting on the outside, which is probably not the greatest. So I do think the inside line is going to be the way to go. Make sure we crank everything up here. So apparently there are talks to add more ovals to the calendar next season. Which ones do you want added? Well, first of all, Iowa. But that's assuming that Iowa Speedway can actually be saved, because that is something I don't personally believe is ever going to happen at this stage. I would absolutely love to see it, obviously, but yeah, I remain highly doubtful that would ever happen. But Michigan, Fontana, Homestead would be another great one to see added, because I think the cars would actually race really well there. And I think that that's a different market than where IndyCar has been and has been for, I mean, geez, what was the last time that they raced there? Like 2011, I want to say. So I think those, you know, Michigan, Fontana, Iowa, Homestead, if you were to end up getting all of those on the schedule in one go, in addition to Texas, as much as I hate Texas, and of course Indianapolis and Gateway, you know, you would have a pretty pokey schedule. Now that said, Michigan is never gonna happen, and Auto Club isn't ever gonna happen, so I don't know. It's a weird thing with IndyCar, because there's just not that many ovals that I think would actually work that well. I'll also say I would like to see him go to Richmond and like actually make that race happen, because it should have happened.
On the outside this time, pit road is closed.
But I mean, even like Richmond, you know, of course, when that Racer article came out and people were talking about it, people were like, "Oh, let's go back to Phoenix." And it's like, yeah, how did Phoenix work out when they were there last time? It didn't work out well, you know. It's like, even though Richmond, I would like to actually see a race there, I don't think it'd work out well. You know, people will say, well, Iowa works out well. And it's like, yeah, that's because there's a bunch of different X factors going on that Richmond doesn't have. which creates
One to go. Next time
side-by-side racing. And even then, Iowa is really single file until the traffic sets in, and then it's just carnage because you got two different lanes going on. Whereas I don't think you would ever see that at Richmond. You didn't ever see it at Phoenix. You know, and of course Milwaukee, it'd be nice to see Milwaukee take its place on the schedule and try and make that an event, you know, actually happen. And get back standing up and on the calendar regularly the week after Indy where it should be. But see, there's a big difference between places I wish IndyCar would run and places that
Get ready, going green.
IndyCar would actually have a chance of being successful in. Because, I mean, for example, Milwaukee would probably not be a particularly great event.
Time to do your job.
I mean, how many times have we tried?
Green flag, green flag. Car inside.
Zero the
Still
bumps.
there at the bottom.
Zero the bumps.
Clear inside, inside. Still there, hold your line.
Alright, apparently nobody wants the low line is not the way to go, apparently. Alternatively, that guy's just chilling, dropping back. No, 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 no. You gotta be careful. Turns 1 and 2. You get up in that third lane, you get some huge bumps up there. No, 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 no. Alright, so don't try and read chat while driving. Reading chat while driving an IndyCar at this track is not a good idea. That will not work out well.
The yellow flag is out. Line up, single file. Pit road is closed right now.
Well, that was fun. That was fun, guys. So I'm thinking low line in 1 and 2 and high line in 3 and 4.
Let the pace car by. Pit road's open.
You know what? I will let the pace car by when I'm good and ready to let the pace car by. Martinsville. IndyCar's at Martinsville. Yeah, I think we talked about this last week. That's one of those things I would be oddly intrigued to see what ends up happening. Because you do think that Martinsville and IndyCars would just be an absolute terrible race. But then at the same time, it's like, you know, these guys routinely bump one another side by side, and the car is designed with the idea of bumping one another side by side. It's like, you could get some good stuffing it down into the corner. And I think it would actually be a really freaking difficult track to drive. You know, because you'd have absolutely no downforce at all, and it'd be, you know, powering out of the corner, braking as late as you possibly can. You should try it in iRacing one of these days. Any expectations for the new Nashville street circuit? Oh, hey, Matt Wagner disconnected. I didn't know Wags was a iRacer. Probably not the same guy, but I'm just gonna pretend it is. That way I can just, you know, pretend that DCS, you know, the ground crew guy and the voiceover guy for their videos is in the race. But Nashville, no idea really what to expect. I do hope that everything goes well and it's not a total farce. You know, like, we've seen way too many lap 1 crashes this season in IndyCar, where basically half of the races have had a lap 1 wreck. That's just kind of like, what are we doing here, guys? You know. But I do think there is potential that that could be a good market, especially with Newgarden, assuming that they're actually using him to promote the event, which is something that, as an IndyCar fan, you actually have to question whether or not the drivers are involved in promoting the event. But in terms of the circuit, I think it'll be really cool to have a track with a bridge on it. I mean, the street circuit layout itself, it didn't look all that impressive or exciting, but street circuits rarely are.
1 lap to green.
But having that bridge in there definitely will be a cool little neato type of thing, assuming, again, we don't end up reenacting the movie Driven, which is something that I think everyone is kind of concerned about, but is one of those things where it's just on straightaway, shouldn't be a problem, should not be a problem at all, but oh my goodness. Oh, hey, Matt Wagner got squeezed into the wall, and he's in the comment section. So are you the Matt Wagner? Matt Wagner?
Get ready, going green.
This is a question I got to know. All right. Still got 109 laps to go.
Pace car is off. Green flag, green flag.
Smooth, easy does it restart there. Sounds like the car is scraping. Must be hearing things. Must have just been the pace laps, tire pressure went down. Alrighty then. Matt Wagner, sorry to make the comment about asking if you're the Matt Wagner. Sorry about that. I don't know how old that gets. You know, in practice we tried running up top in 3 and 4, and that one guy just absolutely blitzed us. So I kind of didn't expect it, but it doesn't feel bad here in the race. Or maybe we're just wasting time and we should be passing all these dudes. Although then there's also the question of when someone starts making progress on one line, then everyone's like, oh hey, well, if he's doing it, then maybe I should be doing it. It's like the jig is up, the secret's out.
Car outside. Still there. Clear high. Car outside. Go low.
Woo!
Outside is clear.
Oh, looks like it might be pretty balanced. Well, generally, if it's balanced, that means that the high line is the way to go. Because when it's balanced, it makes you just that much harder to pass when you just sit on the high line.
Outside. Stay low. There is a car on the high side. Clear.
Scoop that one.
Outside. You're in fifth. Stay
Push.
low. There is a car on
Push.
the high side. Still there. Clear.
It's got all the understeer there.
Car outside. Still there. Hold your line. Still there.
Come on, give me the clear.
Clear
Give me the
outside
clear.
if you want it. Inside. Still there. Inside. Clear inside.
Alright, looks like someone was making a pit stop down there. Looked like they were a lap down, so might have just been damaged. Woo! Probably gotta get lower. Gotta get low in 1 and 2. There we go. Alright, in qualifying we were running 17 flat, I think it was. In race, we're running 18. Mid-18s, roughly. Just trying to calculate the tire fall off and how big of a factor that will be. Although generally, kind of like what we found in practice, the pit entry is pretty dicey here. And plus with this track being a death bowl, generally green flag pit stops aren't something that you worry about too terribly much. Ah! Alrighty, I don't know what that was. That was depth perception fail right there. I look quite like driving into the wall on the straightaway. Oh, there's wreckage down there. The car's driving just fine still. I think it's really just my driving that's kind of temporarily gone downhill a bit. Stay on top of the adjustments. It's alright, we're fine, we're fine. She is kind of snaky down the back straight. It's like really darty. I don't feel like we're making particularly good progress here. So we're hanging with him. I think we're staying about the same with the guy in second place. One down there. Oh, looks like we might have shaved a tenth or two off the guy in second.
The yellow flag is out.
Oh,
they want
party's
you
over.
Single file. Pit road is closed.
What was I thinking? Green flag pit stops here at a death bowl? No, never. Never. Silly me. I should know better. It's like I should know better to not throw it into the wall in the middle of the straightaway.
Letter 7. Carbine.
But, you know, these things.
Pit road is now open.
Alrighty. Come on, 7 car. You know, see, this is where I really hate iRacing, because it's very clear that the 7 car is in a world of hurt, so why are we letting him by? You know, like, his wing is not on. His tire. He's got a case of the wheel damage. Like, you're gonna make me wait for that guy. So now I'm like behind all these cars by 1.5 miles on pit road, so I can't gain positions because I'm waiting for some guy with wheel damage. Alrighty. Let's reset that jacker. There's our dude waving at us. Turns out this is a lot easier to find your dudes with the pick boost turned on.
Okay, go.
I mean, there was no repairs, so we're good.
They want you in single file.
Probably just took that that tape, you know, off of the side pods, you know, the tape that they used to go over the panel lines to just get that little bit of aerodynamic drag off of the car. Just reading through chat here while it's safe to read through chat. And no, I wasn't looking at chat when I threw it on the wall. I was looking at the relative timer down there, and I'm like, what? What's my I rating? What's it to you? Why does my I rating matter? I mean, clearly my I rating is good enough if there's a guy with a Team Redline paint scheme in my split. I mean, that's all you need to know. No, it's 3600 oval ish. But to be entirely honest, my I rating does not reflect anything because I race stupid things that I know I should not race if I were to actually give a hoot about I rating. For example, if you were here watching the stream last week, we just randomly jumped into a Spec Racer Ford race with no practice. My first clean lap was in qualifying. That's not something you should do if you care about I rating, but you know, it don't matter. So it's one of those things where I'm more of a road racer, but my road I rating is lower than my oval I rating. But I think that's just because on the road course, doing stupid races has a much higher penalty. Like on an oval, you can pretty easily just jump in and give it a go, especially with the way that I race anyways, where I'm usually focused on letting the race come to me and not super aggressive. So like by the time we get to the end of the race, we get it figured out anyways. Whereas on a road course, that strategy works, but it doesn't work the same way because you won't be competitive. You need full course yellows on road courses. That way I can actually have a chance of winning. But alas, I am but a scrubby slow boy.
1 lap to green.
Proud of it too.
Catch the 4 car.
Is GT3 still GT3? Yes, GT3 is still GT3. Week 1, I did a GT3 fixed race at Road Atlanta, which apparently they did a substantial overhaul of Road Atlanta. I didn't know that. But the just absolute madness, carnage, malarkey, just psychotic people that are in that series. I got about 5 or 6 minutes in, had already been hit 3 different times. There was a wreck on the pace lap. I was just like, I physically cannot handle this because I am going to have a brain aneurysm or a heart attack.
Green flag, green flag.
No dice. I give up. Why is there a guy in the grass? Why is there a guy in the grass? Chat, why was there a guy in the grass? Like, what's that all about? You know, for some reason I feel like in this car on ovals, I'm way softer coming back into the power than like anything. It's funny, even like the dirt sprint cars, I'll still end up mashing the throttle like an absolute moron, even though I know you're absolutely not supposed to do that. But meanwhile, these things with, you know, all the downforce in the world, it feels like we're rolling back into that last 10%. I do not check tires. 66 on that right front. Woo! Yeah, I feel like the low line is the way to go, but for some reason I keep going to the high line. Because I feel like it's also the way to go. Like that last lap we went high, and we lost a bunch of ground to the guy behind us. But I didn't feel like we lost ground to the guy in front of us. I don't know, it's deceptive. Very deceptive. Too high, too high, too high. Four corner, four corner. Someone else bonking into the wall on the straightaway. Let me just tell you, as a strategy, that is a suboptimal execution. Generally don't want to do that. Oh hey, the screen car's a lap down. Okay. Got lap traffic already out here. Oh my god.
We're halfway in the race.
Some people just should not be allowed to race. You know, it should just be a case of, you've been a problem for how many years, and it's very clear why you're a problem, because you do stupid moves like that. Even though you've done this, you've raced this car for how many years? And I know you raced this car for how many years, because I've seen you in these races. And you do seem to be doing much better, but, like, pick a freaking line, dude. Like, come on. It's not difficult. It's not difficult.
The pit road is now open.
CCM is not the guy to emulate. That's the one good thing about when you race in a specific time slot. You just learn the guys that you just don't want to be around. And he is definitely a guy I do not want to be around at all. Like, I generally try and avoid saying anything about other people's drivings, but that guy is dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. Like, there's aggressive, and then there's just like, you're just driving like a moron, trying to block every single line all at one go, and your connection cannot support it because you're racing with 150 ping, the fastest car on the service, so you're warping around 3 feet at a time. So maybe you're not actually swerving all over the place, but on the other end, in front of other people, like, yeah, you're moving pretty aggressively, pretty violently. It is what it is. You know, the thing that gets me, though, with people blocking is, in the grand scheme of things, blocking is so useless. It's just dangerous for the sake of danger. Like, if you want to defend the line, it's pretty easy to defend the line and not have to do that. You just commit to it early, and it becomes very clear, and you just leave them nowhere else to go, as opposed to literally swerving down the straightaway. And it's like you're entering the corner from the middle of the track anyways. So, yeah, what? Why do you use such a high virtual mirror field of view? Because that is the default. And I got used to it because I used to race the, well, what was called the Prototype GT series way back when. This is basically the predecessor to the current IMSA series, where you had a prototype and then you have the GT cars. And I used to drive the GT cars, so having a very high field of view virtual mirror is actually really incredibly useful in those conditions, because you can see so much behind you and you get a really good feel for who's doing what and what that prototype that's coming for your tailpipes is actually doing back there, so you know if he's going to be doing something crazy or not. Like, honestly, some people, you're not the only person to have mentioned that, and I know some people that, like, post videos or stream, that'll be one of the things that they always change, and I'm just like, I don't know how you can race like that. Like, when I raced in VR, I had no virtual mirror on at all. I just ran the real mirrors, and I still felt like I had good situational awareness of what was around me. But on a single screen, you know, or even triple screen, because I don't think the mirrors work quite as well on triple screens as they do in VR, just because of the whole depth thing that you don't get on a triple screen setup.
One to go, next time by.
It's just natural to me. It feels weird to not have... Yeah, but you can't see cars further than, like, 0.8 seconds back. Here's the thing, though. I don't particularly care about cars that are 0.8 seconds back. I really don't. And, again, part of it, going back to the Prototype GT thing, the way iRacing is set up, any car in a faster class or that's a lap ahead of you, you will get a blue flag exactly 1.5 seconds between you and the car behind you that's on a lap ahead or a faster class. So it's one of those things where you instantly know, when you see that, you know, oh hey, there's a faster car 1.5 seconds behind. And then, you know, the mirror, yeah, you only see a little black speck up there with this field of view, but you
car is in. Green, green, green.
You'll learn what to do.
Now in third.
Yeah, and go high. We flubbed it.
Car outside. Stay low. There is a car on the high side. Clear high.
Go ahead and have it. I am not an alien. You are. Even if this is oval racing, and I know this isn't like really your thing. Pretty sure if this is a road course, I would be nowhere even close to you. In fact, I'm 100% sure of that. Although, I think I was in a race with him in the LMP ones at Circuit of the Americas. I think we did actually beat him, but I think he wrecked in that race, if I remember correctly. It's on the channel, I know that much. Holy moly! We got fresh tires. We got fresh tires coming on through here.
Keep high.
Hey, we should have taken them for
Still inside.
for fresh Firestones, you know? Hey guy, your rear wing's upside down. Who needs downforce when you can generate lift? Right?
Inside.
Oh yeah, we should have taken tires.
Keep high.
He definitely should have taken tires.
Stay high. Still there at the bottom.
You know what? What? What are you doing?
Clear.
Why?
Car inside.
Why?
Clear.
Why would you just... What the hell, dude?
Looks like your car is towed. You'll need a tow back to pick lane. Press and hold the reset button and we'll come and get
Why?
you. Car inside.
Why?
Still there. Clear inside. Car inside.
Well, thanks, guy.
Clear.
That's a real smooth move. Thanks for the meatball. Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
See, certain people should just not be allowed to race these things. Because clearly they can't be trusted with it. Like, clearly, if you can't handle not turning right into someone on the straightaway, you probably shouldn't have the license to race this thing. That will be one where we definitely take a look at that. And that probably will be a protest, because that looked pretty freaking... Yeah, I don't know if there was a reason why he just turned right in the middle of the straightaway.
Oh, obrigado, Bruno.
But from where I'm sitting, just chilling there on the high side, I don't know why you would just turn right in the middle of the straightaway. So, fun. Yeah, iRacing doesn't care. Yeah, no duh. Of course they don't care. It'd affect the bottom line.
Okay, go.
But see, this is why we race Indy Fix, because it's this thing where you're racing with the same people, and you learn who the good people are and who the bad people are.
Car outside. Clear outside.
Who could that be? Hey, we got fresh tires, don't we? We got fresh tires. Should we just wreck him like a total jackass?
Outside.
No, we won't.
Outside, clear.
Because we have class and dignity. When we screw up, we say sorry. Not difficult. Not difficult at all. It's really
Thanks.
absolutely not difficult. We also don't turn right into cars in the middle of the straightaway when there's cars to the right. Just throwing that out there. No, this is official. This is the strength of field race. I don't know. That just leaves me very salty because it's like last week.
Go high. The yellow flag is out. Line up, single file. Closed.
Last week with what happened at New Hampshire in that first race, like the guy just bumped me. Like that's racing. That will happen. You know, that's 100%. Like, okay, yeah, you got in the corner a little bit too hot. You understeered up into me, and that sucks for me. And like, yeah, it was your fault, but like, I ain't mad at you. That's just racing, you know. But when you're turning right into dudes on the straightaway, when you're swerving multiple lines, like, get the hell out of here with that shit. Like, come on. How many laps down are we? How many laps down are we? We're 5 laps down.
Catch the pace car.
I don't know. Just really unhappy with that. Just really unhappy. You know, I feel like these streams, I've just been way more salty than any other time I've played iRacing. And maybe it's because I'm doing these Monday night strength field races, and there are a few guys in here that, you know, I mean, granted, I don't...
The pit road's open.
I don't know who that guy is. I've never raced with him before, as far as I'm aware, so it's not like he was on my radar of dudes to avoid, like the Black Death. But the bubonic plague, man, it's real. It's coming for us all. Oh man, I had a guy blocking an SK modified practice. Yeah, it sounds about par for the course for iRacing. Sounds like par for the course. I don't know, man. You know, one of the things with this channel and the whole YouTube thing is, when I started this, I started it because there wasn't enough people doing sim racing the way I think most people should be doing sim racing. And I feel like it's just gotten even worse, where you have this just total, like, as it's gotten more popular, you have drivers that just don't have a clue, or alternatively you end up with this weird goofy segment of the whole esports thing, and like that's the only thing that seems to matter for all of these developers and all this stuff. And it's just like the dudes here in the middle, like myself, are just kind of like hosed in the deal. Because honestly, iRacing did not used to be nearly as bad as it's been over the last several years. It's just been a steady downhill decline, but they've never done anything about it. I mean, I don't know. Salty old man yelling at clouds. Yeah, but it's like, I I don't know how you... It's kind of carrying on the thought. I want people to race in a smarter way, because I strongly believe that if you race smart, you will have more fun, because you won't be wrecking out, you won't be making stupid mistakes, you won't be wrecking other guys, you won't be a total hose bag just turning right on the straightaway into people, and at the same time you're going to actually finish better, which is just going to make you have more fun. But for whatever reason, there's just a lot of people within the sim racing community as a whole that just don't want to ever progress at all, which is really weird, because it's like, I'm not...
About to go green.
I'm absolutely 100% not an esports guy. Like, I give zero hoots about that. Like, I don't ever care to be the best in iRacing. That's not what I am, not who I am, not what I'm ever going to be.
Green,
you know,
green.
It's not even on the radar, right? But that doesn't mean that we just go out there and just wreck people. It's like, what's the point in that? If you want to do that, just play Wreckfest. Like, the game is built around that, and it's a lot better at doing that than iRacing. Now we get the fun experience of trying to make like a hole and disappear. Just think, if I just would have made that pit stop, we wouldn't be here right now. It is what it is. Is what it is. All right, we've got damage of some sort, obviously. I don't know if we're just down on straight line speed or what, but it feels like we've got like 10% more front downforce. So the car is actually way looser now. Because honestly, I don't even know how you would even, you know, for example, in iRacing, a lot of people they'll talk about mandatory practice and how that's supposed to be this thing that's an end-all, cure-all. And it's like, you know, I don't go into races with that much practice. I'm not turning right on the straightaways into people, you know, like it's 100% on the driver, and only the driver. That's the only thing that matters. You know? Having a practice doesn't change anything. The fast track license system, like, it doesn't change anything. Safety rating is irrelevant here in 2021. Because basically everybody is a Class A driver. Except for the rookies who are constantly posting on the forums about how they're terrified of safety rating. Even though they really don't need to be, because it's all an idiot test, and if you're not an idiot, then you'll easily pass the test. And it's like, okay, yeah, the protest system. I'm not saying, like, what's the answer with the protest system? I mean, we have, mind you, we still need to take a look at this on the replay, you know, to actually full on see, but even still, it's not specific about this one incident. It's just a conversation that Might as well have while we're chilling out 5 laps down, 4 laps down. It's like, what are you going to do? Ban the guy for life? You know, that's not reasonable. I mean, geez, we drove it into the wall on the straightaway. I mean, we screwed up too. I can understand it. You know, maybe guy's grip slipped or something like that. You know, accidents happen, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just, this topic is front of mind because there was a post on the iRacing forums like right before I came in here to start streaming. Some guy was like, oh, you need to have an automated AI steward and all that stuff because it's not my fault, it's the other guy's fault. You know, the typical iRacing rookie post that everybody has seen a billion times if you're a long-time iRacing member that's active on the forums. It's like, well, what would the solution even be? Let's say you have this hypothetical perfect system that can determine whose fault it is. Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, what, are you just going to give the guy 800 safety rating points, incident points, all in one fell swoop, and just be done with it?
Clear inside.
Like, that doesn't change anything. Oh, man. I will say, going back to the topic earlier about people saying sorry, sending messages out, you know, after the fact, when I don't care what this guy says in chat, if it's as flagrant as I feel like it was in the race, like, yeah, no. Either say sorry about something like that right when it happens, or you just don't say anything. Again, we do need to take a look at it after the race, but sure as shoot looked like he just turned straight right into us for no freaking reason at all.
Car inside. Clear.
All right. Matt Wagner, I just read your comment. I'm like, what?
Inside.
And I realized, oh wait, there's another guy
Clear
saying
inside.
that. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of guys in here that I've raced with for however many years. If you go back and watch the videos, you'll see a lot of the same names because we're the same people that race these cars because we enjoy it. And it's just like,
Car inside.
yeah, you see guys blocking.
Inside.
They should have learned that lesson 5 years ago because it's a very clear lesson, and I've seen them wreck out because of it multiple times, but they just ain't ever gonna learn. That's the thing. You can't make people learn that don't want to learn. So people who want to be all like, oh, well, we need an automated steward or we need to get rid of fast track, it's like, nah, I ain't gonna fix things. IR and SR should be hidden. You only need to know your license level. Yeah, honestly, you know, I'm kind of two different thoughts on that because on one hand, iRating and safety rating provide a very valuable progression element to the experience that it's going to keep people more engaged with it. There's a reason why people get butthurt about losing iRating, because to them it matters. And that's one of the reasons that they race, is because they want to gain iRating for one reason or another. It gives them that you know, little hit of dopamine. So like getting rid of iRating and safety rating as publicly viewable stats, I don't know if that's the solution.
There's the flag.
But I would
over.
really like to actually see that done, just to
Schedule some
see
testing. We'll get them next time.
if you could. The thing is, though, it would have to be done at the same time as like an iRating and safety rating revamp entirely, because when everybody knows the way the system works, then everybody's just going to carry on doing the same thing that they were anyways, because they know the system's behind there working in the scenes, even if they don't see the same results. There are championship points. It's also a progression system. Yeah, but no. No one cares about championship points in iRacing. I mean, you look at the number of drivers that actually compete in 8-week season. I mean, clearly people aren't motivated by points to finish out, you know, their full 8 weeks per season. So I don't think those points actually are particularly a factor that people are motivated by. And where in the world was our incident? I thought it is it, but apparently, okay, it was before then. Here we go. Oh boy, I do not like what I'm about to see here. I do not like what I'm about to see here. If this is where it is, I'm just... This isn't it, right? No, this isn't it. Okay. I was gonna say if that was the incident, I was gonna be like, okay. If this guy isn't taking a week vacation, I don't know what iRacing's doing, because that's... Alrighty, so he just like... Why? Why? You came off the corner. You came off the corner. You came off the corner. You had the car pointed in the right way. You had a lane up here. Your spotter would not have given you the words clear. And you just there's literally no reason. See, this is what gets me. There's no reason to try and do this, because there's no advantage to making this move, and instead you just wreck people. Like, if this is the end of the race, like, yeah, sure, maybe you're gonna go squeak in a little bit harder, you know, you're gonna be more willing to chop someone's nose off, but my spotter definitely didn't say clear. And if his spotter said clear, his spotter would have said clear like right here, which he's on the low line. He should know that the car on the high side is going to have a greater straight line speed. So even though he was told clear perhaps by his spotter, by the time he moves, there's not a chance in hell there isn't a car there. You can't do that, dude. You flat out cannot do that. It's just like, why do people drive like such stupid morons? I don't even know why I'm bothering, because I already know what it's going to be. Yeah, what car number is that guy? Oh, he was in this race. I don't even know that. I don't even know why I'm bothering, because it's going to absolutely do nothing. It's a racing incident. Yeah, never mind the fact that some guy just, you know, basically turned right in the middle of the straight for no reason at all. But please go ahead and coach him. I'm sure he won't be doing the same thing next week. I'm going to be entirely honest. If you have to explain why that was not ever going to work out and why that was an incredibly dumb move, they're never going to learn. I mean, at least that was... I don't quite know why... I don't know if he needed a lift, but I'm not going to second guess him because he's the one driving the car. But he just lifts out here because he's going to get very close to the wall in the slightest, and then he just gets run over from behind. And then that was that. I mean, at least that's kind of a just a standard wreck. Matt Wagner, I'm just saying, don't show mine. Go on. You like that nice, tasty steel pole? Hey, at least you landed on all fours, you know? At least you landed on all four. Alright. I know there was other carnage there, but I'm just too salty about that. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. All I ask is if you're gonna drive like just absolutely 10 tenths and you're gonna just not give a crap about the fact that you're using the internet and therefore what you see isn't necessarily what you should believe. I think Abe Lincoln said something about that on the internet way back in the day. At least just don't don't do stuff like that, you know? I mean, Wagner, you're wrecked there. I mean, in the real world, that wouldn't be a wreck, and I think we all know that because if you've ever watched an IndyCar race, you know that the cars can bump side by side like that, and you know it's fine, and you guys didn't hit hard, but the thing is, you can't expect to race that close in an online environment. It doesn't work. Like, there is no possible way to race as close as, you know, for example, Texas 2001 or whatever it was, or, you know, any of the IRL races at Chicagoland. You can't do that online because the realities of the internet say no. You know, it's... anyways, on to something more my speed. Trying to figure this out here. Man, going from the IndyCar to the Formula V is just one heck of a culture shock. It's just like... alright, now we're doing 50 miles an hour. Okay. Slow car is slow.
Car stopped ahead. Slow car ahead.
I think the guy that bumped you just doesn't understand that he could have just held his line.
Slow car ahead. Go right.
I mean, obviously.
Left side. Clear on the left.
I mean, he moved up to try and block me, because what probably happened is I don't think I got the call for clear on my end, but with netcode and everything, where the server saw my car versus where my car is on my end and where his car is on the server's end relative to me, and all the mishmash on there, he very well could have been told clear by his spotter. But even still, it's just like with dirt racing.
Car stopped ahead. Go left.
You know, you have to understand that just because the spotter says clear, in those situations where you have a high line and an outside line, high line and a low line, you can't just be like, oh, well, spotter said clear, so I just turn right now. Because that doesn't work. Like, it flat out does not work because that car is coming. And the way the iRacing spotter works, it doesn't understand that gap that you're telling your driver is there is not actually there, because by the time you even think about moving there, that gap is closed up. Oh goodness, my knee is hurting. I think we spent too much time on the throttle that last race.
On the right. Car stopped on the right. Go left. Go left.
Okay, okay. Apparently practice sessions are just full out carnage. Although this is a rookie series, so we'll take it easy on them. Would you recommend using Crew Chief? Here's what I'll say. I don't use... The only app that I use for iRacing and really anything else is I will use iSpeed for my fuel calculations and all that stuff and getting my fuel number. I'll also use Joel Real Timing. I've used that in the past, you know, before I started doing live streaming and more of this stuff, to get the displays from the replay cameras and all that.
Clear.
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of them because I just don't like having more things to start up and worry about starting up. And, you know, the way I see it is it's easy enough to remember to not put fuel in the car. I don't want to have to remember, oh, hey, I need to start up my Crew Chief. You know, that way my spotter's working. I don't want to have that thought happen. So I just personally don't gravitate towards those apps. Now, a lot of people love Crew Chief and will speak very highly of it. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I even took the time to go ahead and make a spotter pack a few years ago. You know, it's just not my cup of tea, so I just don't have a whole lot of experience with it. But ACC style radar might have helped with that wreck. Honestly, I don't think ACC style radar or Helicorsa, whatever you want to call it, I mean, they're the same thing, would have done anything at all, because he would have seen that, oh hey, there's a gap, so I can just go ahead and fill in that gap. But you can't fill in that gap because the reality of the situation is that gap is a very dynamic, fluid thing. And I think, honestly, it would just make things even worse. You know, and it is kind of one of those things where people do, I think, depend on the spotter a lot, and when they just hear clear, that just automatically means that they're clear and they don't need to worry about anything else. Because I think you have a thing going on where you have just the fact that the spotter is 100% accurate. Well, not 100% accurate with the whole netcode thing and everything like that, but you know when a spotter says something that the situation is what the situation is. It's not like a human that's, you know, trying to judge whether or not you're actually clear. It's this omnipresent thing just floating around that knows exactly when you were clear or not clear. But I mean, it's the same thing with like dirt racing. You know, people, I've kind of talked about this in one or two of the videos I did with the dirt racing. People ask like about spotters and all that stuff and complain about spotters and, you know, like, oh, why are you using the spotter in iRacing on dirt? You know, they don't use spotters in the real world. And it's like, I'm not listening to the spotter on dirt. So the spotter, he can say whatever the heck he feels like. I just have them turned on because I can't remember to turn them off. I think they should just turn them off to begin with on dirt, because you wouldn't even notice a difference because you can't use them in the scenario. Like, it just flat out does not work to have some guy tell you clear outside because of the situation and the way the racing works. And I just don't think there's any way to solve that, and other than people have to understand. And, you know, maybe that guy realizes, you know, he'll look back at it after the race and be like, you know, that was pretty stupid. I just like turned right into a guy on the straightaway for no reason at all. Like, I should probably not do that. Maybe he'll learn, you know. Maybe he's inexperienced. Best part about this car, you can spin out and not get an incident point because you're going so slow that you won't actually hit the threshold. But it's like with the Helicorsa style thing. I don't think anyone's going to be able to look at that thing and accurately judge their speed versus the other speed at 180 miles an hour on an oval where you're running laps in an 18-second range. It's just another thing where it's pushing the limit, and I think what's better is when things are imprecise, because then you don't know. You can't trust them the same way. Like, for example, going back earlier, we were talking about, you know, the virtual mirror and all that, and how blue flags come out 1.5 seconds every single time. You know, if you see a blue flag, there's a faster car or a lap ahead car exactly 1.5 seconds behind you, regardless of if you're using your relative or not. That's not how it works in the real world. You know, in the real world, you can't necessarily, like, get a blue flag beamed you in the car. In pretty much any car. I mean, I suppose probably in, like, Formula 1, they probably could flash a signal on the dashboard or whatever, but it's like with the spotter, you know, the spotter is perfect, quote unquote, and it's just doing its job. You just have to understand what its job actually is and how that all relates. You know, it's the thing with, you know, mirrors on dirt. Dirt cars generally don't have mirrors at all in them, and yet somehow they get by just perfectly fine, and it sounds absolutely crazy to someone who's like, why would they not have mirrors? How do they not run into one another? It's because, you know, if you're running the low line, you can't just go to the high side if you know there's a guy behind you or around you that's been running the high side, you know? Like, you generally know, like, you don't need mirrors. You don't need spotters, but you do need a brain.
Green flag, green flag.
I don't know, I would really like to see iRacing just one day take the dirt series, because I think this is where there would be the least amount of pushback, and just turn all the mirrors off. Like, no virtual mirror allowed. As well as just turn the spotter off, disable them for the dirt oval sessions, and see what happens. Because I honestly believe that the result might actually be pretty surprising. But hey, there's a reason why iRacing would never listen to a guy like me. There's a reason they don't give two it's about my opinions and never have. It's probably for the better that way. We're on the point on oval where I can race pretty much purely on engine noise. Yeah. I mean, you can hear the guy, especially if you have a good pair of headphones or, you know, really good speakers. You know, people will frequently ask me, you know, how can I race on single screen around people, you know, with any sort of confidence and not worry about hitting other cars? Well, you have ears. Sorry, I just touched the microphone. But there's so much information that if you're just listening to just your spotter, and that's the only thing, then you're gonna have a bad time. Alright. Oh hey, we might actually get into a decent race here. Stick! Oh yeah, P1 baby.
Checkered flag, checkered flag.
Michael, a little while ago. Dang, missed the race. Any craziness? Yeah. plenty of craziness. We had guys just blocking for no reason at all, doing their best CCM impression. Not sure how many people will understand that reference, but I feel like if you understand that reference, if you know, you know. As well as some guy just turned right on the straightaway. Giving him any sort of benefit of the doubt, probably might have got called clear by a spotter, but very clearly was not actually clear. So, that's why this stream has devolved into old man yelling at clouds. And apparently, you know, things I really don't like, being car number 1 and putting it on pole, I don't like that. In fact, I hate that. Especially when I've not really done any practicing. Granted, it's Okayama short. Not like it's the most technically demanding track, and this is the Formula V, which is a car that does seem to suit me reasonably well. Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as that Michigan race. But there was definitely, you know, usual suspects. Yeah, no red and green socks tonight. That's kind of one of those things where it takes a little bit of effort to put those socks on. It sounds really weird to say, but those socks are, like, for people with normal size feet, and they're actually a real pain in the backside to get into. Sasquatch problems, I know. So when we're doing Indy Fixed, it's kind of like, you know, the pedal cam really doesn't matter. I mean, you're just kind of doing this a lot. Yeah, there's nothing going on. But we do got the mismatch socks going on. No, the you guys can't see it because it's hidden by pedal cam, but the lap time display isn't actually matched up to the lap time that I qualified at. For example, my best lap is reported as a 102.5,
that corner and got a
but we qualified at a 102.08. So no, we didn't just find a second on top of a 112. I mean, I wish we did. Gonna need it for Weekend Warriors this week. This is definitely gonna be a track where we can't depend on the slipstream to save us. Just shove it around like a low skill newbie. Bigger size socks fund. Mr. Potato with the super chat. You know, the funny thing about that, I actually looked for bigger size socks because I had to special order those socks. Well, not special order them, but order them. And it honestly took some doing. It honestly took some doing to find red and green socks, and I'm kind of like, I can't believe I spent that much money on these ridiculous socks I'm only gonna wear for these things. Yeah, it was a thing. All right, so we got P1. It's gonna be starting here on pole in car number 1. Fun. But this guy in P2 is pretty close to us on time, so hopefully we'll be a good battle. Does Amazon have socks? Yeah, I ordered them from Amazon. Which might be part of the problem because, of course, on Amazon, you get the whole trying to find one specific thing out of everything just becomes a massive pain in the backside because people put all their tags and everything to make their product show up. But it's kind of weird because they're actually baseball socks, which is why they're red and green. Or like, you know, athletic socks. Soccer socks, I suppose. Or football socks. But they didn't have like a higher size option. It's like, come on, these are like, I mean, surely there's going to be people with like size 16 shoes needing big socks. But, how are you enjoying the Indy now? Assuming you're talking about Indy Fixed, I'm still enjoying it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I mean, there's a reason I've raced that series for years and will continue to race it because even though I know it's bad for my health, you know, it's just, you know, that nice train wreck that you just can't help but get enough of. You know. Alright, cold tires. They don't matter until they do matter, so therefore pretend that they do matter. So go just nice and easy through here. See if we can run away. I like it when I make for boring races. Not really, but kind of, sort of. I don't usually get boring races where I'm way out in front, okay? Doesn't usually happen. Let me live it up. Sorry, stream. Why don't you like Indy Open races on ovals? I don't have a problem with Indy Open series. The thing is, it's just not for me. Because I don't have the time, effort, or energy to work on a setup. And I personally do not want to be on a team that I add absolutely no value to in that regard, because I don't think that's, you know, fair or reasonable. Because, I mean, I've had plenty of guys over the years that are like, hey, you know, I'll go ahead and send you my team setup and all this stuff, yada yada yada, and you know, essentially have that hookup available if I so chose. But no, that was a slow, long, lazy spin of just doom. That was one of them that you're like, I have it, I have it, I have it, I have it, I have it. I apparently didn't have it. Alright. Just keep it on the road, get that free iRating. Invert your controls. Now that would be something. How does a load cell throttle work out? That's a really just load cell throttle, and by that I mean the brake turned into a throttle at Talladega, and just mashing that pedal for all it's worth the whole race. It's like, oh my goodness, that would not be fun. It's already bad enough with just the throttle pedal, because I don't know about you guys, but I always end up with leg cramps in my right knee on, you know, really flat out tracks. Driving with a competitive setup versus fixed on oval is really a different experience. I mean, I'll still say it, and you know, I am pleased to say probably one of my favorite things that I've done in iRacing is the fact that I've won a race in basically every IndyCar variant. You know, in terms of road, oval, and fixed. Like I've you know, had competitive setups on the ovals. It's just one of those things where the experience that it was at the time, and granted, it was back when the DW12 came out, so this would have been 2014. It's just like there's so many things that you have to really spend time working on and optimizing, and I just don't have the time, effort, energy, commitment to do it for just one car. And plus, part of me really likes the fixed atmosphere. As much as I hate it for the reasons that we've been discussing tonight, it is one of those things where it is beer league sim racing, and that makes it fun. Like the fact that it is not great makes it good. It's like with the Spec Racer Ford, they updated it. It's honestly like a bajillion times better, I think. But I don't know if I like the car more because it's just not the same, you know? You've done some things, but you've also done some things, you know? I'm really interested to know what split this is. I hope this is top split. And given that this is a rookie series, I wouldn't be surprised if this is top split. But if it isn't, I'm going to be kind of slightly annoyed. So maybe we're just chilling 2 seconds out in front. Just cruising. Just logging laps. We do have the benefit of practicing for Weekend Warriors this week, so although we're running the full circuit there. As opposed to the short one, so really only working on half of the track here, but we still learn things. Let me bring up the relative. Alright, just so we're clear, the relative is set at a 102.125 is the lap time that it's going off of, so if it goes goofy again and all of a sudden it looks like I gained 1 second, it's not actually the case. This guy behind me just like find VTech or something? I suppose that wasn't a good lap, so that's probably what it is. But where did that lap even go wrong? It's going wrong in the slow corners. guys. We might actually have a race on our hands. Of last lap. Alrighty, I give up. I give up. Session best lap. There we go. Alright, let's get down into the 101s. This guy behind me, he's definitely found some speed. He has definitely found some speed. Minute and a half remaining. So 2 laps. That's terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. Terrible. That's terrible. Let's keep it together, though, and we'll bring it home.
I need one more good lap.
Roger that. Guy, where was this pace all race? Like, where was this pace all race? Like, all of a sudden now you just... Right. Would have been way more interesting, way more exciting for both of us. But hey, woo, free iRating! Yay! I think that's actually my first official win in the V's right here. What in the world is going on in chat? What? 24 hours of Lemons doing iRacing events, which had wacky controllers heavily encouraged. Among the items used were an 80s Nissan AC control unit. This is something that needs a video. I have got to see this now. Like, you can't just drop a bombshell like that and not provide the goods. Well, that was a fun race, guys. It's a fun race. Gained 66 iRating. And that was indeed the top split. And the guy behind me ran a 101.577. He just, like, found all of the speed all of a sudden. I mean, what did he qualify at? Qualified at 102.4. 102.44, runs a 101.577 in the race. Apparently you just need about 10 more minutes of practice. You'll be just fine. There's a guy who races with a theremin in that series too? Okay, where is this happening? Why is this... Okay, iRacing, you keep being like, oh, hey, look at our streams and stuff. This is the streams you need to be promoting. This needs to be... Apparently we got guys driving with AC sliders for steering wheels, and someone's driving with a theremin. I don't know how that would work out, but thinking that through, that might actually work incredibly well and must be just a spectacle. Especially if he can make it play sounds at the same time. Like, that would be... I mean, imagine, like, Dirt Rally or Richard Burns Rally on the theremin. It's probably how dubstep was invented. Who's a sleepy doggy? Who's a sleepy doggy? Yeah. Alrighty, boys. Imagine that guy doing Indy fixed. I mean, he would fit right in with... I mean... He'd be one of the guys I'm least concerned with out there. Force feedback there. Hey, you gotta spend the big bucks to get the direct drive theremin. Just remember that. Belt-driven theremins are out of season. Technology is advanced. The future is now, old man. Iowa, why are you so bumpy? I know why you so bumpy, but why are you so bumpy?
Go high. Car stopped ahead. Go high. Go high.
You know, could you imagine if this is what a real-world practice session looked like in any car? Just the expense. I mean, what was it, F3 a few years ago, where they actually, the series parked everybody in practice because they were just driving stupidly? It was like, no, you're done.
Clear inside. Inside. Clear.
Alrighty, guys. Is it race time yet? Oh man, I'm tired.
Inside. Clear.
Okay. Okay.
Looks like your car is towed. You'll need a tow back to pick lane.
I mean, at
You
least-
can hold the reset button and we'll come and get
At least
you.
that's a racing incident, you know? Like, I mean, at least didn't turn right on the straightaway, right into me. So, as far as I'm concerned, we're good. We're just, you know, it's practice gonna practice, you know? F3 at Monza. Yeah, that sounds about like the place everybody would get parked for driving standards. Oh, man. You know, it's got to be really interesting to be one of those guys that raced, you know, back in the 80s and 70s and 80s, you know. Even further back than that as well, but I think most of those guys are now basically retired. They just like
Outside. Clear up top.
see what racing's become and just the lunacy that now, because death isn't something that's treated as an absolute inevitability, people just drive like absolute psychotic madmen out there. And that's just got to be one of those things that you just look at with a very cynical, you know, like, there's a good chance that back then, you know, one of your buddies died in a race car. Whereas nowadays, it's far less common, thank goodness.
Car outside.
3 wide.
You're on the bottom. 3 wide. Outside. 2 wide. Keep low. Go low. Clear high.
Oh! I do like this guy's paint scheme, though. It's definitely a great scheme. '70s and '80s are filled with a different kind of crazy. Difference is they were a different kind of crazies. Yeah, they were all on drugs. Or alternatively, especially once you get in the '80s, they were all running drugs.
Down low. Go high.
And meanwhile, here we are nowadays, and it's like, instead of having the freaking Whittington brothers and God, who is the other guy? Well, apparently Gary Ballou, oval guy. Because I was watching he's doing some stuff in the Dale Jr. download with his podcast thing. It was just playing in the background. It's great to listen to all the old stories, and he was talking about him. Randy Lanier is another guy. There's one other guy that comes to mind. Wasn't it John Paul Sr.? was in on that too. It's like, man, it's crazy. Man, how are these guys racing all these cars with no sponsorship? And they're like really fast. Like, what's going on here? Nothing to see here. It's another meeting of the International Marijuana Smugglers Association. Meanwhile, all we get today is Scott Tucker. Like, come on. Although that said, if you haven't heard the story about Scott Tucker and the $200,000 B Sports racer that he ended up building, you're missing out, alright? And if you're watching the stream, and there's one thing I can make sure that y'all know, you gotta watch Dinner with Racers, alright? It's a great podcast, great show. Highly recommend it. And you'll actually find episodes with many of those guys that were just mentioned. Racing these days is so boring. Where's the excitement? Ah! Mario Rossi was Blue's crew chief in his last race, I believe, and he got disappeared. Interesting. Interesting.
Inside, clear.
I mean,
Car out.
from the way he was talking about
Keep low.
his
Clear.
festivities and events, it didn't sound like he thought there was anything involved there. So. Dinner with Racers is two grumpy old dudes. I don't think either one of them are old dudes, are they? I mean, then again, I guess I'm an old guy. Even though I'm not old in numbers, and it's just a number. I figure they're probably mid-30s, probably. Now I gotta know how old they are, because I don't think they're old, but you're saying that they're old, so now it makes me wonder, like, do we just have a different definition of old? Alright, let's see here. Now I gotta know. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Eversley's only 37, so, like, not old. Okay, just dudes who know the sport. Alright. I mean, that's still not old, especially when you consider a lot of these guys that have the best of episodes were racing and made their name, 40 years ago. Although, again, I think that's also a case of racing was just a different world back then when it was the International Marijuana Smugglers Association. That was just like a thing everyone knew about. Or landing airplanes on the back straight at Road Atlanta. Nothing to see here, guys. But the good thing is that, where we're at now, like in the world of racing, Like, we're getting to the point where we're now losing those guys with the stories. And I think it's important for motorsports as a whole that those stories and information gets passed around and disseminated and passed down through the ages so we have a better perspective of certain things, as well as, you know, racing history is really interesting.
Outside.
There's so much to it that...
Low car up high. Stay low.
Yeah,
There is a car
definitely up high.
Go
Yeah, he's
high.
50 feet
Go
in the air.
low.
All right. Where, you know, I feel like in other sports, their back history just isn't as exciting. And maybe that's just because I'm, you know, a racing fan, but... I mean, like, take the NFL, for example. Okay, so yeah, people, like, had teams in the middle of nowhere and nobody wanted to play pro football because they made no money. And it was just, you make no money, so it's better to become a salesman at a meat plant or what have you, even if you won the Heisman. You know, yada, yada, yada. Whereas racing just has these stories of shenaniganry. I mean, NASCAR, for crying out loud, was literally started by a bunch of people running moonshine illegally, running from the cops. You can't separate that out.
Low car up high. Go
Whoa,
low.
whoa, whoa, time out here, time out here. I think that might have been an F1 paint scheme back there. IMSA were rookies compared to BTTC. Cocaine smugglers. What? Okay, time out here. I love these stories involving racing and drugs. Even though I have never done any drugs and never will do any drugs because I just don't see the need to. But just make for great stories. I need more information. I need to hear some details. I need some links to find out about some of these goofy things that must have happened. Alright? I mean, may I remind you, they bought Road Atlanta so that way they could land planes in the middle of the night on the backstreet. That way they can offload their product. Alright? So if you're saying they made them look like rookies, this is a story well worth hearing. Well worth hearing. Alrighty, boys. It's nice knowing you. Oh, goodness. We'll go over here. Meow. That time when the defending NASCAR champion raced with a monkey in his car. Yeah, I mean, that's never going to be allowed to happen again. Like, never. Or, you know, of course, the videos where that are here on YouTube. You can never forget the one where Dick Trickle is smoking under yellow, just like start smoking a cigarette under yellow. Just like, what is this? This is not what you're supposed to do, but this is legendary. British touring cars were smuggling cocaine from the Netherlands. Any particularly great stories that will be on YouTube or podcast platforms where this stuff is discussed? Because it always just makes for one interesting story. Authorities noted that the team was testing in Zandvoort in Holland, another ones, just a bit too often and became suspicious. I mean, that is that is pretty good cover. I mean, we're just... Yeah, we just need to work on the car out here, you know? It's a good test session, you know? Sir, this track isn't even on the schedule. Well, it replicates the qualities featured at Brands Hatch. Yep. Nothing to see here. But it is kind of sad how racing just kind of has lost the characters. Through the veil of corporations and spokespeople and all that stuff, you know? Because you ain't gonna tell me that everybody racing nowadays is just a boring stick in the mud. But at the same time, everybody's forced to toe the line, and you just, you know. Need more monkeys in race cars. That's the ticket.
Green flag, green flag. Okay, here comes your first time lap.
Alrighty. Let's qualify.
You've got about 5 laps of fuel. One more lap.
No! That sucks.
Checkered flag, checkered flag.
That sucks. Would have been a decent lap too, but we just got too low to clip the apron. I will say the one thing I absolutely hate about Iowa Speedway is the pit entrance. just hate it. That stupid wall in the middle of the corner, it like just sticks out. Like what is this? And I honestly I don't even know if this wall is even there in the real world. Because I suppose I've never really paid attention, but here in iRacing, this thing over in here just conspires to screw you over so ridiculously hard. It's like, can't get the car on the flat and just take the direct line because then it's just super slow. So you got to kind of like stay on the banking and then zoom across hard to left. Bobby Allison used to smoke going around Hickory Motor Speedway. You know, I bet you probably half of the drivers in NASCAR back in those days probably smoked under yellow. The only difference is they didn't have an in-car camera there to catch them. Like, I mean, one thing is for sure. NASCAR does have some of the best stories in racing. And I think that is partly because so much of the sport back in the day was built upon guys who were absolute freaking characters one way or the other. Alrighty. Oh, we got Mr. Steele out here. Oh, man, apparently this race is the actual strength of field race tonight. So I noticed I'm in car 14 versus car 10 earlier. And yeah, we lost some iRating that last race, but I'll be starting towards the back. Starting towards the back at the Death Bowl. Heck yeah. Used to have gasoline in their roll cage. Yeah, and the fuel lines that were 30 feet long because there was a fixed capacity but not a fixed length of fuel hose. Guys running nitrous in qualifying. Just got a bunch of lead in the car that they dump out throughout the race. I guess Formula One had an experience with that as well when they were running back in the 80s. Who was it? Was it? I want to say it was Williams. Does that sound about right? Or they were running. I don't think it was Williams, but they were running water-cooled brakes, I guess, supposedly, and they would end up losing like 150 pounds of weight throughout the race, running their car underweight, and then they just fill it up at the end like nothing to see. It's all good. Oh shoot, I almost forgot to change my steering offset. It just grinds my gears when I don't have to turn right to go straight. You know, it's just such a shame. I would really like to see a series that just gets rid of the rule book. Like, just say, hey, you know what? Your car can only make this much power on a dyno, and we're going to provide the dyno, and it's going to be, you know, one specific dyno in our technical center or what have you, and say these are your aerodynamic numbers, and these are the safety tests. And then from there on, just whatever happens, happens. So let them figure it out. Get some real cutting-edge stuff going on up in there. My favorite is Lance's rally team sending people ahead to spray down extremely dusty sections of stages. They delay having to start by faking a harness issue to give the stage manipulators time. That is great. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. I feel personally offended.
You're on the outside this time. Closed. Pit road is closed.
It's a great thing about being... There's two great things about being from Iowa. One, people don't... like it. Is that the corn place or the potato place? And then the Field of Dreams. Because, like, those are the only things that people outside of Iowa have any idea about relating to Iowa. So it's just like every single time. Those are the things that are going to get said. Probably doesn't help by the fact that, like, everything is related to corn here in Iowa. Guys, ready for that Iowa corn Indy ethanol 300? Sorry. What's more dangerous than an F1 livery on an Indy car? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, the only thing that's got more destructive power is probably Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 One-Man Army Danger Close Noob Tubes. I mean, those two things are just...
Get ready, going
You see
green.
that and you just know, probably not going to have a good time. Like, this is probably going to devolve into something.
The pace car is off. Be ready. Green flag, green flag.
I'm sure there's people that played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that right now are like, oh, thanks for reminding me.
Car inside. Stay high. There's a car on the low side. Clear.
Yeah, hi, guy. Alright, let's be nice and easy here. We're starting in the back. This is DEATHBOWL. It's not exactly the most difficult track in the world to pass on. And after wrecking out of the last 3 Indy fixed races that I've done, I would like to finish one. Well, I guess we technically finished the last one, but you know, we really didn't. Oh man, I'm tired. It's like not even 10 o'clock and I'm ready to just pass out. Must be getting old. No way. Too high, too high.
Inside. Keep high. Still there at the bottom. Clear inside.
Just keep on keeping on. Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Go low. Inside.
Yoink.
Stay high. There's a car on the low side.
You see crashes, I see
Clear
freebies.
inside. Car inside.
Ah yes, iRacing, where you see a wreck and you just start licking your lips. No, in there!
Inside. Car inside.
Woo!
Inside. Clear
Woo! Woo!
car inside.
Woo!
Clear.
Undies have been soiled. Woo! Woo! Oh my god! Oh my god! That did not happen. There's no way that just happened. There is no way that just happened. Okay, I honestly believe that is the greatest save I have ever saved. How in the world we did not death wiggle, snap it into the wall, or back down across the track, I don't know. You don't do that in this car usually. You get that sideways in these things, usually you're done for. So much for taking it easy, right guys? Just love seeing those black marks in the corner every single time. Just like, oh hey, yeah, you remember where you just about died here about 30 seconds ago? Alrighty. Exhale. Exhale. Pencil note, don't go on the high side of this blue guy.
Car outside. Clear outside.
Ah, we're kind of half in, half out there.
Outside.
Oh, shoot.
Still there, hold your line. Outside is clear.
He's getting choked up behind the red and white guy there. So we're clearly faster, but we just run the same line. He's in the wall. They're both in the wall. Oh, buddy.
Outside. Clear up top.
Alrighty. We need to get past these guys somehow here. Really need to get the show on the road.
Inside. Still there, inside. Clear. Car inside. Stay high, there's a car on the low side.
No bumps.
Still inside. Clear inside.
Alright, that's one down. Definitely feel like we have some better speed than these guys in front of us here. We just kind of got boxed in with this other guy as well here in this, I don't know, tan colored car.
Inside. Clear. Car inside.
She's a little free coming off of the
Stay
corner there.
high. Stay high. Still there. Clear
Come on.
inside. Car inside. Keep high. Clear.
Blue guy, you need to go faster. You need to help me out here.
Inside.
You need to help me out, blue guy. You're
Keep high.
not helping me out here. Just
Still there.
Just
Hold your
run the
line.
other line in one of these corners,
inside.
please.
Inside. Clear. Inside. Still there. Clear inside. Inside. Keep
It's like,
high.
I think we're
Clear inside.
going to be much faster on the high line than that low line.
Car inside.
It's like, either way, we're stuck behind
Still
another
there,
car,
bottom.
though.
Clear.
You know, like, we can't go faster, even though we can go faster.
Inside. Clear inside.
Okay, that was great. Hitting the brakes coming off of the corner, because you see driven happening in front of you.
Inside.
Alright, here we go.
Stay high. Keep high. Clear inside.
Yeah, because it's like if we go down low, I didn't think the other guy was going to get by him. You know, until something randomly happened. It's like if I go low, then the guy that was lurking behind in that red and white car, he was just going to end up taking that spot anyways, and now I'm going too wide through the corners anyways. 3 wide.
Outside. Stay low. There is a car on the
Oh,
right side.
goodness.
Clear outside if you want to. Caution.
Oh,
Yellow flag.
goodness.
They want you in single file. Pit road is closed right now. Past
Goodness.
11. Car.
Goodness.
The car has too much damage. We've got to fix it. Past 15 car. Past the pace car. Past 15 car.
Alrighty. Is she gonna make it? We're just gonna take a beating on the safety rating here today, guys. Just. What do you think this guy behind me is thinking? Just like, get out of the way so I can make a pit stop. Like, come on. And if I was him, I would not be where that guy is right now. Right, I would not want to be
11 car.
where he is.
Catch
Oh
up,
my
19
goodness!
car.
Pull the handbrake! Oh goodness. Please tell me this is like Texas where it's only like 30 seconds repair. It's too far right. All this and it doesn't even matter. Just fix the car. Oh my god, y'all being a bunch of prima donnas. Car's broke, car get fixed. So this is 4 races in a row. Alright? 4 races in a row wrecking out. Oh man. I don't even. I don't even. Yeah, we're gonna be multiple laps down. Oh man. I mean, at least that was just a. I mean, that was just racing. I mean. Just wrong place at the wrong time. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, boys, how's your night going tonight? Hopefully you guys are having fun at my expense here with this stream. Probably could have tried to make it out and not lose more laps, but it doesn't matter. I mean, with this series, you know, once you go a lap down, you're basically only going to get one more lap back, maybe two if you're lucky. And cautions and everything go just the right way. Well,
okay, go.
3 minutes. We only knocked both of the right sides off the car, and then got it fixed up in 3 minutes. Oh, oh.
Green flag, green flag. Get ready, going green.
Quick, run, run! Let's look on the bright side. That was just Final Destination, because that wreck that we somehow didn't end up wrecking in was nothing more than just sheer Final Destination. I mean, our ticket was punched, and we just said, no. So, I mean, we should have already wrecked out of this race. We're so slow. Just gonna roll it around on the apron, because we're so far off the pace. I mean, when you're doing a second a lap slower, ain't no need to be in the middle.
Outside. Outside, clear.
Don't need to be in the middle of the pack. There's only one thing that can result from being multiple laps down with a car that is slow, and that is more wreckage. Although I will say I am pretty pleased to report that my skid marks are still down there on the track. Now instead of just a giant one in turn 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, there's where I was wall riding.
Inside. Still there, inside. Clear inside. Car inside. Still there, inside. Still there, inside. Clear inside.
You know, one thing I gotta ask, so for those of you guys who got direct drive steering wheels, and you got the really powerful ones,
Yellow flag is out. Line up, single file. Pit road is closed right now.
You know, what happens in those scenarios? Like, do you just basically break your wrist? Because doesn't I mean, what are you doing? Guys! Guys! Please! Please! Don't turn right! No. Oh, God. I can't. I just can't. I just. He's going 100. Why is he so slow, anyways? Okay, he comes out of the pits. I mean, the car must be broken, but it's like, if the car's broken, why are you driving in the middle of the road? That's the worst place to go. Oh, God. C-class driving at its finest. Now, going back to the previous topic, in that category, let me just switch here. You see this blue thing on this guy's helmet? That means that he's not a C-class driver. He's an A-class driver. He's completed the license system. So, you know, hey. All right. So, you guys think this is intentional? Honestly, I mean, I think his car must clearly be broken. And he just like, oh, hey, there's cars out there going really fast. And he got the old Talladega Nights thing, you know? Are those the other cars? And he scared the crap out of himself. And he had the 1,000-yard stare, you know? When you've seen death staring you down in the eye, you know, like, changes a man, right? And I mean, I think this is the exact same thing as Texas with the guy who missed the pit entry and he just like brain farted. Like, I think this guy was just trying to drive his car and he was just surprised. And I mean, I don't think that was intentional or anything like that. It was just, that was just the type of thing that happens. And at least he said sorry. See? He said sorry. You notice when you say sorry, good things happen. Let's go back and look at where we died the first time. Wait, what blue thing on the helmet? So if you're familiar with iRacing and you didn't know this because they don't really tell you this anymore, every driver on their helmet icon will have a stripe on the visor. Let's see here. And the color of the stripe tells you which license level they are. So in here, literally every driver in here has a Class A license. So yeah, and it used to be that every car in iRacing also had a color on it. Like it used to be with the old Indy car. The camera, if I remember correctly, up top was actually color-coded. So that way, you know, C-Class driver had a yellow camera, B-Class had green, A-Class had blue. So you could tell. But they've gotten away from that, I think, because it's just kind of one of those things where it looked a little stupid, even if it was actually a really nice little feature. Oh, wait a minute here. What's going on here? This is the 19. Okay, yeah, so he wouldn't have thought I had wrecked him or something.
The pace car is off. Be ready.
Okay, what happened here? What happened here? I don't know what that is. Okay, he scrubs up the track, pushes. I'm guessing that's just net code. He got sucked
Okay,
into
go.
him. Because I think he's coming up to the track and he's over here. And it looks like there's... like right there, you see the car just kind of looks a little goofy, like it kind of bounced or something. They probably actually made contact through netcode, and then what happens sometimes is you'll get stuck to one another, and then at that point you're just royally screwed, and he probably just got sucked in even harder to the right. And then it just ricochets off to the left, and we were there to be the innocent bystander along with everything else, so... Is Guillermo out driving again? Yeah, that's a very good question. If he's out there, if he's out there doing laps, okay, all right. Yeah, I was gonna say if he's out there doing laps still, I think this is the lap 19.387. Yeah, that was a slow one. How? 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 How did we save this? That's a good, you know, 15, 20 degrees of slip angle there on an Indy car on an oval. You ain't supposed to do that. You are not supposed to do that at all. I'm not gonna lie, that moment right there, this moment, this save, totally salvaged this whole night of racing for me. We get one of them Tokyo Drift screenshots up in here, you know. Control Z, please. Yeah, we're just out here styling and profiling out here. Just so like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna rip the top like a dirt car, you know? Why not? I mean, the only one I can think of that tops it is when we got hit from behind at Pocono in turn 2. And we were not quite, definitely not a sideways, but in the Speedway configuration. That was something. So if you needed proof that we were just screwed this race and just destined to end up wrecking 8 times over, there's the proof. I mean, when you don't instantly die from this in iRacing, you're playing with house money at that point. You're just flat out playing with house money. I mean, didn't need no 2-foot magic save hacks or anything like that. Never do it again. I'll never do it again. Oh, man. I didn't die every race tonight. I won the Formula V race. Alright, I won the Formula V race. Don't forget it. I don't often get a W, so you gotta relish in it. Alright, let's see here. I mean, sort of... Man, he is just hooked up tonight. Good battles. I know. Most exciting. Well, I think that's going to do it for tonight because I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, Weekend Warriors will be racing again this weekend, same time. What is it? I can't remember what time it is. It's basically like noon Central Time here in the U.S. Probably end up going live at 1 p.m. Central. 7 p.m. GMT, so 1900 I think it is. No, that can't be right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Somewhere thereabouts. If you're interested in that, we're racing Formula V's at Okayama, the full course. And we'll have a bunch of cars out there, and definitely won't run away and win that one. So, on that note, next week we'll be racing again in Indy Fixed. Hopefully we can reverse the trend of... Oh, man. Back-to-back offers. Doesn't feel good, but you know what? Sometimes you can only just laugh. Positive attitude. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed at my expense. All right.